Welcome to Toronto Talk Sports and More, episode number 9, recording Tuesday, May 29th. It's your boy Hez, alongside the King of Woodbridge, M-I-L to the O. Milo, what's shaking, brother?
Thanks for that introduction, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's a hot one out there today.
Oh, yes. Beautiful weather in the 6. So it's you and I once again, Milo. Quartz is away this week. Looking forward to joining us next week when we release our 10th episode. Can you believe we're almost at double digits, Milo? Unbelievable.
That's amazing. And just getting back to Quartz for a second, I guess, he's a baseball guy, so I guess we could say he's on the 15-day DL.
Yes,
love you, Quartz.
He had a little illness, hit him hard there, but we look forward to welcoming him back with opening arms next week. Yeah. So, Milo, how's things been in your world since episode number 8? What's been shaking
Yeah,
it's
been
end?
a hectic, last week was just hectic for me, work-wise, busy guy, you know what I mean? I had a great weekend, had a wedding.
What's happening work-wise? What do we do for work?
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I could let the listeners know. So, for me, full-time, I do work.
PIMP?
Maybe a part-time, but no, full-time, I do work for American Express Canada.
Right,
shout out to Amex, my employer there.
Shout out to Visa. Yep.
Hey, I don't know if they're like that too much. But yeah, I do business development for Amex, so if any of our listeners need an Amex card, you know where to reach me.
Awesome. So listen, Milo, today is Toronto Newcomer Day. Now, before I brought this to your attention in pre-production, were you aware of this, Milo?
I had no idea.
So there was a big celebration with Toronto Mayor John Tory at Nathan Phillips Square today, celebrating all of the newcomers to our beautiful city over the past year. Now listen, Milo, I'm all for celebrations, but I think this is getting a little ridiculous. Why is it that there seems to be a national day for everything? I mean, I know this isn't a national day, it's a Toronto thing, whatever, but it seems like, we have a national day for every single thing, 365 days a year. When we were growing up, we had Mother's Day, Father's Day, Canada Day, just the normal. I mean, for fun, we maybe threw in a little Groundhog Day.
Take your kids to work day.
Yeah, like whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm going to share a list of some really idiotic and pointless national days. Like, this is just really...
Let me just ask you quickly, were a lot of those new Torontonians Americans coming over? Trump built that wall for them yet? Or?
Oh, boy. So listen to this.
Go ahead.
January the 14th is Dress Your Pet Up Day. January 15th, National Hat Day. January 19th, National Popcorn Day. February the 11th.
I don't mind that one too much.
Actually, you know what? I'm a big popcorn.
Movie theater guy,
I love popcorn.
Yeah.
Popcorn is cool. So popcorn is good.
Okay.
February 11th, Make a Friend Day. So we need a day to tell us to make a friend or to encourage us to make a friend.
So what's interesting is I actually learned that February 10th is National Umbrella Day.
Oh,
so really, in Canada, it's not raining on February 10th. It's snowing. How about National Shovel or National Salt Day? Jeez.
It's insane. June 4th, Hug Your Cat Day. Interesting. So that's coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, coming up in less than a week is Hug Your Cat Day. A couple more. November 14th is Clean Your Refrigerator Day. So we're reminded
once a year,
the 14th of November, to clean our refrigerator.
Our sound engineer, Paula, is just making a note of that. November 14th to clean her fridge.
Crazy. And last but not least, December the 27th. And isn't this warm, cute, and fuzzy? December 27th is Make Cutout Snowflakes Day. Oh, how sweet. This is just absolutely insane. Milo, which one of these days would you say is just the absolute dumbest and the most pointless? Or maybe there's another one that you're aware of.
Well, I did do a little bit of research because you did tell me about this. March 3rd, if pets had thumbs day. I just don't get it. Like, what are we really trying to accomplish here? Pets had thumbs. Who thinks about this stuff?
Oh,
if my pet had a thumb, like,
guys, this is crazy. For me, I got to go with Race Your Mouse Day, so Race Your Mouse Around the Icons Day. Like, as I said, I had to look that up. I started reading about it, and I had enough of this, and this is just insane.
Right.
What I would honestly say is humanity takes a big L for all these national days, almost a bigger L than the Houston Rockets took the other night.
Certainly get into that.
At home, yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But as I said, we grew up just keeping things nice and simple. You had your regular traditional days. Now it seems like there's a national day for everything. Everything's a cause for celebration. Things are getting a little ridiculous. But whatever, for some people it's fun. You just kind of poke a little fun at it. It is what it is.
I do actually have a little bit of an announcement, Hez.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
Getting married? What's her name?
No, not quite yet. But last Friday, our dear friends at DAZN, so that's DAZN, who are a live and on-demand sports streaming service. They're actually owned by British-based media company Perform Group. They already own the streaming rights for NFL games here in Canada, and they announced the exclusive Canadian TV rights for UEFA Champions League soccer. Awesome. Very exciting news coming from DAZN. Champions League games in Canada have previously been shown on TSN, Sportsnet, and beIN Sports. Now via subscription by visiting dazn.ca. All you soccer lovers out there can now enjoy some Champions League soccer.
Awesome. Excellent. So that's at dazn.ca, DAZN.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, Milo, I have a special announcement of my own to make.
Oh, nice. Getting married again?
Yeah. Third time's a charm. No. Yeah. My special announcement, give me a drum roll. Dun, 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 dun. I'm announcing what's on today's show.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So here we go. Let's get right to it. We will be recapping both Game 7s of the NBA Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We will be previewing the NBA Finals, which does begin this Thursday. The Stanley Cup Finals, which kicked off Monday night. We'll get into that. We'll discuss the NFL, the new kneeling policy. So a very controversial ruling there in the NFL.
Interesting thoughts on that.
Oh, yes, indeed. And our And More segment will be featuring a motivational coach. So bringing some positive vibes.
Dwayne Casey?
How much motivation he can bring.
Yeah.
But we have a great show. Episode number 9, Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Hey, it's your boy Milo back with your TTS NHL Stanley Cup Finals update. Well, Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals took place last night in good old Sin City, Las Vegas, as the Golden Knights hosted the Washington Capitals. There were a lot of shots flying, fights all over the place, and big hits being thrown, and I'm only talking about the MGM Grand pregame. This game was more of a roller coaster than Donald Trump Twitter ranted, and in the end, the expansion Golden Knights prevailed 6-4 to take a 1-0 lead. Thomas Nosek scored the tie-breaking goal midway through the third period, and that was enough for the Knights to hold on. This game was also a Stanley Cup Finals record, 4 lead changes, and it's really tough to imagine what these two teams have set for an encore in Game 2. The big guns for the Capitals, Alex Ovechkin and Evgeny Kuznetsov, were held in check as they combined for only 1 assist in the game. Meanwhile, for the Knights, Nosek scored 2 goals, and Marc-Andre Fleury stopped 24 of 28 shots to earn the victory. It'll be interesting to keep an eye out as the Capitals forward Tom Wilson had a huge blindside hit on Vegas forward Jonathan Marchessault that could have more ramifications in Washington than a good old White House scandal. Vegas will certainly plead with the league office to review the hit, and we'll see if Wilson will be available for Game 2. Marchessault does seem to be okay after taking the vicious hit. Game 2 goes down on Wednesday evening, and we'll see if the Knights can take a commanding 2-0 lead or if the Caps can even it up, heading back to Trumpington, D.C. for Game 3. This has been your TTS NHL Stanley Cup Finals Roundup, Toronto Talk Sports, and more.
All right, Milo, let's talk some NBA action, beginning with the Eastern Conference. After the home team won every game in the Eastern Conference Final through the first 6, the Celtics were a perfect 10-0 at TD Garden. Game number 7 this past Sunday night. No Kevin Love. LBJ does his thing as always, and 3 other Cavs finished with double figures. 87-79 final score in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Eastern Conference team that both you and Courts selected to go to the finals. Did you at any point throughout this journey of the Eastern Conference playoffs, Milan, have any doubts?
I did, actually. I'm not going to sit here and say that I was 100% confident in the Cavs, but going to Game 7 against Indiana in the first round, taking care of the Raptors very easily. And then in this series, they're down 3-2. Returning home to take on the Celtics. And it's just LeBron James. I mean, the guy just makes people around him better, and it's very tough to bet against him once he gets to a Game 7. He was phenomenal. He helped his team, but they got help with the other guys. Jeff Green stepped up. I thought Kyle Korver made a couple of big shots, J.R. Smith as well, and Tristan Thompson just brought the energy like he usually does in a New York City nightclub, right? So,
So what about Boston? I mean, the young team, obviously they were without their 2 star players. What would you say about their future and what they have to potentially look forward to next year and even the years beyond?
Like Rihanna says, it's shining bright like a diamond. I'll tell you that much. There's nothing negative you could say about the Boston Celtics, to be honest. Looking forward, I think Marcus Smart is a free agent. I think it's a priority to sign that guy. He might be demanding somewhere in between $12 and $15 million, but he's that kind of that heart and soul of the team. But you bring back.
He did make a statement that he wants to get paid.
Absolutely, he did. That's why I bring that up, right? But you're going to get Kyrie Irving back, superstar right there. I put him in that category as between an all-star and superstar. Gordon Hayward, an all-star player. You can only get better. And the guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, they all grew up. They struggled in Game 7 except for Jason Tatum, but they've learned their lesson and they'll be ready for next year.
Excellent. So let's talk LeBron. LeBron, Raymond James advancing to his 8th straight NBA Finals. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's ridiculous. What more can you say about the guy? He does. I just still wouldn't put him in the Michael Jordan, even Kobe Bryant level, just in terms of their assassination on the court and how well they were able to put daggers in teams' hearts. But this guy, just from an all-around impact and how he elevates his teammates and how he did that throughout the playoffs so far is just incredible. 8 straight finals. I don't remember the last time a player's done that. Maybe you have the stat on that, but it's just incredible. It's unfortunate, though, that the team we're about to talk about is who he's running into once again.
That brick wall, eh?
Yeah, that's it.
Going down fast. So I'm going to share a little poem in honor of LeBron James going to his 8th straight NBA Finals. The original author is unknown, or at least it is to me anyway. Now, I call this the NBA Finals without LeBron James. The NBA Finals without LeBron James is like a plane that doesn't fly. It's like a year without July. It's like a stream which becomes dry. The NBA Finals without LeBron James is like a match without fire, a circuit without the wire, a car without a tire. The NBA Finals without LeBron James is like shoes with no laces, a sentence without spaces, a nerd without his braces. The NBA Finals without LeBron James is like a phone without a dial. It's like a face without a smile. It's like a clock without a while. The NBA Finals without LeBron James is like socks without feet. It's like fire without heat. It's like a heart missing its beat. The NBA Finals without LeBron James.
Wow, that was phenomenal. You didn't write that one yourself?
No. I just pieced it together.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Awesome. So listen, the Western Conference Finals, Monday night, May 28th, live from the Toyota Center. No Iguodala, no CP3. The game was basically a tale of two halves. What did you see, Milo? And specifically, I want to ask you about James Harden. Because before the game, everyone knew going in, especially without CP3, he needed to have a legendary all-time playoff performance. What happened?
Well, first of all, we should give you credit for picking the Warriors to get to the finals. That was your pick.
Well, merci beaucoup.
I think both Courts and I did pick the Rockets. But James Harden, I really feel. The guy just when the lights shine the brightest, he just seems to struggle.
He started off hot. What did he have? About 16 first quarter points.
But you just eventually knew he was going to fall into his jump shot. And this is the thing I noticed with James Harden, and he's a guy that probably the best in the league at drawing fouls. But when you're playing in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, you can't expect to get those calls. So what happened? He starts with his jump shots. He's shooting threes. What were they, 1 for 30 in the second half or something like that from three-point range? Just ridiculous.
Yeah, they missed 27 straight three-pointers, NBA record.
Yeah. James Harden, deservedly so, will be the regular season MVP, but he's a regular season player, much like, I hate to say it, DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry.
So you put him in that same category?
Absolutely. The guy just hasn't shown me anything in the playoffs. He's had great game ones throughout this postseason and in the past. But we saw it last year against San Antonio. He folds like a cheap suit. And now we see it again last night, right?
I'd say he played much better than he did last year. And, obviously, last year was last year.
Yeah.
But, the turnovers, the decision-making, even just the shot selection. Once again, he was very hot right from the jump. I believe he got off to 16 first quarter points. And then, the second half when they really needed him, and there was a point in the third quarter, or even in the fourth, I believe they cut the lead to about 7 or 8 points when you thought, okay, maybe they could potentially
Did you
go
really
on a
feel
run.
the Warriors were going to lose that game, though?
No, not me, not
lead?
at all. But from Houston's standpoint, especially once, they started to, hit a couple of shots and,
Right.
they brought the game to single digits in the fourth quarter. But he just, James just couldn't elevate. He just couldn't get them over that hump. As I said, they needed a star all-time performance from him. They just didn't get it.
And you feel bad for a guy like Chris Paul, obviously. Who knows what would have happened? And, it's hard to say because obviously the Warriors were without Iguodala. But I would 100% say Chris Paul is more important to the Rockets than Andre Iguodala is.
You can make that argument.
To the Golden State Warriors. So they did miss Chris Paul basically out the last 2 games. I mean, what could have happened? What could have been?
The Warriors, you can't make excuses. I mean, you heard Steve Kerr after the game when asked, he said, and I respect him for it, he said, if they had Iguodala from the jump, they would have won the series in 5.
Right, yeah.
And I tend to agree with
Eric
that.
Gordon came out and said we would have won in
he would have, could have, should have. Yeah, absolutely.
Dubs moving on.
It is what it is. So the Golden State Warriors, once again, their 4th straight NBA Finals. This was the first time, Milo, since I was a 1-year-old baby that there were 2 Game 7s in the NBA Conference Finals. The home team usually wins 80% of the time. As you both know, home teams are always heavily favored. This time, both road teams went on to win Game 7s, obviously the Cavs and then now the Warriors. And then for the 4th straight year, Golden State versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. NBA Finals begins this Thursday, May 31st at Oracle Arena in Oakland. But Milo, you got a bunch of whiny fans online complaining, we got the same 2 teams yet again. The NBA is rigged. Kevin Durant ruined the NBA. I'm not going to watch the finals. Blah, 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 blah. What's with these damn millennials?
I think somebody's giving us a dirty look over there as she's recording our show.
But seriously, what are your thoughts on watching the same 2 teams in the finals for a 4th straight year?
To me, it's just as exciting. I mean, look, I don't expect this to be much of a series. It would have been nice if maybe Boston got in against Golden State or Houston versus Cleveland. Absolutely. I think it would draw more regular fans who just aren't as passionate about the NBA as maybe you and I are to watch it a little bit more. But, at the end of the day, the 2 best teams are there now. And you have the best player against the best team. And
so you would say that Cleveland, yes, props to them winning the Eastern Conference. Would you still consider them the best team in the East? Obviously, they won. They got there.
Right. Well, I think if you had a healthy Boston Celtics team, I think the Celtics would have beaten them.
Right.
But they proved that they were the best team. They got through Indiana.
They have the best player.
Absolutely. And they got through the number 1 seed, our Toronto Raptors, and then they beat the Boston Celtics in 7 games on the road.
Got through the Raptors
Spectacular
fairly easily.
performance. We failed to mention that. But, Cleveland proved that, they're the dominant team in the East still. Nobody's going to take the throne from LeBron yet, and they're getting back to the finals.
So last year, Milo, obviously with Kyrie Irving, 5-game series really wasn't competitive
What
at
was
all.
up with him not showing up to Game 7? Deviated septum surgery?
Yeah, apparently he had some kind of, was it a dental surgery?
Deviated septum.
Yeah,
so.
some nasal
and that's
or
not
something,
considered an
whatever it was.
emergency surgery. So I think he should have been there. Something might be up there.
Right. So what do you think happened? He just didn't want to face.
I think secretly he wanted Boston to lose. To be honest, because it would have proved that the Celtics are good enough to get to the finals at least without him. And, maybe they move ahead with Terry Rozier next year, and maybe there's a deal for Kyrie to be had. I secretly think that Kyrie Irving actually wanted the Celtics to lose.
So we'll have to kind of stay on top of that story and see if something does come out. It does seem like, you should have been there. Perhaps that surgery, which wasn't anything major, obviously, could have been scheduled.
I think he knew Braun was coming too.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So what should we really expect from the series? As I said, last year with Kyrie Irving, wasn't very competitive at all. The Warriors won in 5 fairly easily. I still remember, it's in the back of my mind, Kevin Durant just hitting that game-winning, that breaker shot in Game 5 there over LeBron James at the top of the key. But what do we expect?
It was actually Game 3, was it not?
It was Game 5.
Oh, was it Game 5?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
To kind of close things out.
Okay.
What should we expect in this series?
Well, look, like I said, I don't expect it to be much of a challenge for the Warriors. They're just too good. I mean, look, yesterday, even the Warriors, they were just playing around. It looked like with the Rockets the first half. They played with fire, but that third quarter, they just come to life. And I don't know what Steve Kerr feeds them or says to them at halftime. But, they're just focused. I like the Warriors in this series in 4. If they get bored during Game 3 or Game 4, The Cavs can certainly steal a game, but I just don't see it.
So the
being much
Cavs
of a
have zero chance, in your opinion.
to win the series. -0. Yeah, they're done.
The spread, the pregame spread as of now is 12 points for the first game. The Warriors are favored
Yeah, as it should
by
be.
12.
I mean, look, the Warriors are a dominant home team. The Cavaliers have just played 2 of their last 3 series, game 7s. They're tired. They're not going to have the energy to keep up with the Warriors.
One thing I would like to see, so obviously the Warriors in this, kind of stretch run, they've won 2 championships. They're going for 3, and then they'll start to enter the whole conversation of a potential dynasty. So the first year, obviously, Andre Iguodala, he was the Finals MVP. Last year was Kevin Durant. I'm kind of leaning towards Steph Curry. Personally, for me, I would love to see Steph the Chef Curry have a phenomenal playoffs, just kind of, go crazy. Obviously, there's no Kyrie Irving there. He played very well, very good defense last year on Steph Curry.
Right.
What do we expect from Steph, and could he potentially be the Finals MVP?
I wouldn't put anything past Steph Curry. The guy, he's won, 1 MVP or 2 MVPs in the regular season?
2 MVPs, yeah.
2 MVPs. I think that's one thing that he's looking to accomplish. Obviously, championships are the most important thing, and Steph isn't a guy that really cares about the limelight or winning awards and certain trophies and whatnot. The main trophy for him is a championship. But I think that's one thing on his resume that maybe he's looking ahead for, is to get that Finals MVP. I expect a big series out of him. Again, he missed a big portion of the season as well, so he's not really fatigued or tired. I think he's going to have a huge series for them.
And the Warriors, they just seem to play so well when Steph Curry is on. I mean, KD, for the most part, you know what you're going to get. Pretty much every matchup is a nightmare for the opposition in terms of, his length and what he can do, even putting the ball on the floor and whatnot. Nobody can really guard Kevin Durant in the NBA. But there's something about Steph Curry. When he is on and when he's shooting his threes, when he's driving to the hole, when he's scoring, over 25, over 30 points a game, they're just unstoppable. I really think he's the most important piece.
Yeah.
And if he can kind of set the tone from game 1 and have a really dominant series, as I said, for me personally, and I am a Steph Curry fan, I would love to see him win the Finals MVP and kind of add that to his resume. So hopefully he can get it done.
Who would you say is maybe one guy on the Cavs that needs to step up, besides LeBron and maybe Kevin Love? Who's a guy that they need to rely on and count on?
Well, I would say, 3-point shooting. These guys are going to need to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to need to get a lot of, shots up. I would say a guy like J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver. These guys have to have double figures, like guaranteed. What an amazing game in the closeout with the Boston Celtics there by, what's his name again, former Celtic?
Jeff Green.
Jeff Green.
Green. Played with a lot of heart and a lot of passion.
Yeah, absolutely. He was great. Defensively, offensively, driving, taking the ball to the hole. Did a great job.
Yeah, I'd say Jeff was phenomenal in that Game 7. He really stepped up. But a lot of the guys stepped up, and LeBron was just making plays all over the place, setting those guys up, and they just made big shots. Good for them.
Yeah, I'd say another guy that needs to step up for the Cavs if they want to make it somewhat.
Jose Calderon. Love that guy.
Yeah, former Raptor. If they want to make it somewhat a respectable series, and that is Tristan Thompson, Brampton's own. If he can come in and, set the tone defensively, obviously since Ty Lue inserted him in, I believe it was Game 7 of the Pacers series,
right.
He's been somewhat consistent, grabbing a lot of offensive boards. At the end of the day, obviously he's not going to really do too much on the offensive end unless he's getting, all these lobs and whatnot from LeBron. He can't finish around the rim.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he's in there for defensive purposes, rebounds, particularly on the offensive end. At the end of the day, he's just one of those effort guys. He can really kind of set that tone defensively.
Well, I'm sure he'll be very aggressive at the California nightclubs, right? No, to San Francisco. Well, Chloe's going to be in Cleveland, and maybe the Kardashians they're out there, right?
Oh,
maybe
boy. Well, let's just hope he's focused on the NBA Finals.
For sure.
Which, once again, Game 1 of the NBA Finals goes Thursday at 9 p.m. in Oakland. We hope it's a dandy. From all accounts, it appears like it's not going to be necessarily the most competitive finals, but we'll see. You never know. Anything can happen. It's unpredictable. Obviously, injuries can transpire. If LeBron James plays, he's going to definitely have to play out of his mind and be even better than he was last year and the year before in the finals. I don't know. What do you think? A 45, 50-point triple-double average to even give them a chance to win? We'll see. But the main thing is, he's going to do what he's going to do. The shooter's got to shoot, and as I said, if Tristan can kind of set the tone defensively, they could possibly, make
you got to have multiple 20-point scorers in this series if you're the Cavaliers. I don't think they can shut down the Warriors defensively. The Warriors are going to get to where they want to get to.
Oh, sure.
But you're going to have Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, even Korver possibly putting up 20-point games. It's not going to be easy. That's for sure.
Well, our message to the Cleveland Cavaliers is please say your prayers, and we certainly look forward to it. Once again, Game 1, Thursday in Oakland. Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Hey, it's your boy Milo back with Hez. And Hez, we're going to switch gears a bit and get into some NFL news.
Our favorite sport.
Absolutely. Last week, the NFL owners unanimously approved a new national anthem policy that requires NFL players to stand if they are on the field during the performance, but gives them the option to remain in the locker room if they prefer. The policy does subject teams to a fine if a player or any other team personnel does not show respect for the national anthem. That includes any attempt to sit or kneel, as dozens of players have done during the past 2 seasons. And that's all, of course, to protest racial inequality and police brutality all across the United States. Those teams also have the option to fine any team personnel, including players, for the infraction. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Oh, boy. How much time do we have?
I know we could go on forever about this.
This is a big topic, Milo. There's so many different angles, so many different ways to look at it. And it's a personal thing. We all have different views. What I would say from the jump, for me personally, I feel it's unfortunate how politics have crept into sports and entertainment over the past few years.
Absolutely.
Most of us love to watch sports, partly as a way to escape from all the negativity of the world, the conflicts, the things that divide us as a people, right? But lo and behold, sports and politics seem to be quite synonymous these days. Once again, there's many different ways to look at this particular situation. Some folks will say, hey, it's a violation of the First Amendment, freedom of speech and, the right to petition and whatnot. They're saying you can protest, but over there, not over here.
Right.
Not in the limelight in front of the cameras for millions of people to see, which I'm sure those that are protesting would say that, that kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? Yeah. And then you have, congressmen basically comparing the protest to a Nazi salute, you're disrespecting our flag and this and that, right. And, treason and whatnot. So it's just a huge mess.
Don't forget about the president chiming in as well, right?
And that's another thing. And, all the talk about, the NFL owners perhaps potentially being in fear for whatever reason of Donald Trump and, kind of submitting to, obviously Trump was very vocal, especially last year, how things, really unfolded,
right.
With, the kneeling and the protests and whatnot.
And this all did start with one player who's not even in the league anymore, Colin Kaepernick. A lot of people are saying he's been blackballed. I'm sure he's probably better than half the backup quarterbacks in the league, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
That he can actually maybe be a backup or even start for a couple of teams.
Did you hear a report, not to switch gears too much, I think this was last week, that, and I don't believe they mentioned any names, that apparently a few star players are considering, kind of boycotting the season if Colin isn't reinstated. I did read that report, I believe, on the Score. But back specifically to this particular kneeling policy, if you want to know my personal opinion, once again, for me, I definitely do, Milo, watch sports as a way to kind of get away from all the negativity and all the distractions and all that kind of crazy stuff. I would personally prefer not to see any kind of, political gestures or anything of that nature.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm a huge advocate of persons asserting their legal rights, what I mean? And if they do have the right to, protest based on, obviously we don't need to rehash, all the stuff that has gone wrong in the U.S. and obviously some of it trickles to Canada as well, but specifically relating to, the U.S. issues of inequality and police violence and this, that, and the other. If the players feel justified in, hey, I'm going to, kneel, I'm going to, this is my way of, not, perhaps supporting, the country or, some of the ills that the United States stands for, then that's their personal choice. Like I said, for me, I don't necessarily want to get too involved in that from a sports standpoint. I just like to watch my sports. But I do believe the players have every right, every legal right, once again, to assert their First Amendment, to petition.
Yeah, well, as a strong, tall, good-looking black man myself, I'm just kidding. I do actually agree with you. I do think that, for me personally, also, I do watch sports, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever it is, to kind of get away. If I want to watch politics, I'll go to CNN. You know what I'm saying? And I'll go into Donald Trump's Twitter account or whatnot. I'm not the biggest guy into politics or whatnot, but for the most part, I would say that things that are going on in the field. You respect the anthem. The national anthem has not done anything to you. It's a way to salute the people that fought for the country or whatnot. And I don't really see it necessary for these guys to get on a knee and do those type of things.
Well, they should have that right if they so choose.
Sure, absolutely. But I think as a typical fan or as a fan of the sport, you really don't want to see that. You're coming to a football game or you're tuning in on your TV to watch football, to see 60 minutes of smash mouth football action, and not to see guys protesting and talking.
So here's my thing, and as I said, and I agree to an extent in terms of, and I said it, I would prefer not to see all of these gestures and whatnot. It doesn't bother me per se. What does bother me is the politicizing of it. So if players are taking a knee, if they're doing a silent protest, whatever it is that they're doing that's not hurting anybody, that's potentially not disrupting anything, where is the problem? Wherein lies the problem? And I'll tell you where the problem is. The problem is, or actually I'll ask it as a question. Who is it that's actually taking it to the next level in terms of really putting it at the forefront and politicizing it and making it something that perhaps it isn't, a bigger issue, and blowing things out of proportion?
DT himself.
What's that?
DT himself, Donald Trump.
Listen. Well, and that's the point. So if you go back to Colin Kaepernick, who, once again, based on his personal views and observing and seeing certain things of inequality and injustices in the United States of America, he decided to do something. Other players decided to follow, whatever the case. How this really got to be a big and a huge national story, you're right. It was Donald Trump, politicians, mostly on the right, the media, mostly on the right, but obviously, the liberals have kind of, taken, this and ran with it as well, because it's a huge story and it's getting a lot of traction and whatnot.
Right.
But that's my main issue. If they're doing their thing, let them do their thing. It's really the media, the politicians, the Trumps of the world.
Well, they need something to talk about, right? I mean, the media needs to gather that revenue. They know it's going to be a hot topic, and that's why they bring it up and they publicize it a lot more.
Yeah, and from a political standpoint, and once again, and even us here, we have a sports show. We're getting into a particular territory that, perhaps we're not even so comfortable, or we don't necessarily want to get into on our platform, Toronto Talk Sports and more. But it's just unfortunate. At the end of the day, it really is unfortunate. And it really takes away from the competition, particularly in this league that I'm sure we would both admit, Milo, is the most competitive out of the four major North American sports. As I said from the jump, football is our favorite sport. We love the NFL.
Go Steelers.
Well, I don't know about that. But but yeah, it's a really unfortunate situation.
Sure.
The rhetoric.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. And you know what, it's going to gain a lot more steam, and as we get closer to football season. Football season starts in September, of course. We're definitely going to talk about this topic a little bit more, and of course, throughout the season, I'm sure we're going to see some players go against these policies and these rules. And
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, the NFL Players Association, they're not happy. They weren't consulted. Yeah. And, I believe they're contesting, this rule. And we'll see what transpires, man.
We'll see what happens. Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Welcome to another edition of And More on Toronto Talk Sports and More, where we discuss almost anything and everything outside of sports. We'll often feature a Toronto-based entrepreneur or influencer. Today, Milo and I are very pleased to welcome motivational coach Jelani Daniel. Jay, how's it going, sir?
It's going great. Super happy to be here.
Awesome.
Nice.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Enjoying the beautiful sunshine?
Beautiful. I remembered March.
It was pretty cold then,
That's it, man. I have
indeed
nothing.
A blessing, yes.
Yes.
Oh, boy. So listen, we're going to get right to it. And right off the bat, we're going to come with the hardball questions. And then we'll save the little softies for later. You know what I'm saying?
Bring it.
You got to be ready when you come on Toronto Talk Sports and more.
So what we want to know is, how does one go about becoming or how does one qualify to become a motivational coach? It would appear in this information age, the World Wide Web and whatnot, that anybody can just begin sharing inspirational quotes online and, spreading a bit of seemingly positive vibes and whatnot. How did you get started in this line of work? And in your opinion, what separates the legitimate motivational coaches from the frauds?
Brought the fire right to begin with.
I took it for granted when you said you were going to bring in the fire. You were going to bring in the fireworks, but woo.
Yeah.
We're on, buddy. We're on. We're live.
But you know what? That's a great question. What I know in regards to my position, I've been doing it all my life. So I've been cheering my friends. I've been cheering myself. I've been going over obstacles. So a profession like this, it's not something that you can be fake if you choose to, but I don't think it would really benefit you. It's something that you have to genuinely like people, genuinely want to help people. Other than that, you're more or less boxing yourself into a situation that is not beneficial to you.
So you have to have really like a passion for it.
It's not. If you're after money, guys, try a different profession.
Right.
No, there's so much other things if you're just after money that you could do. Because remember, you're going into people's minds.
Absolutely.
You're trying to switch their mindset.
Oh, for sure. So there's a little bit of a manipulation factor potentially.
There's a lot of stuff equations, and also too, people really fall and do things when they understand that you've been through something and what you're saying makes sense.
Right.
Like for me, I've written 2 books in regards to betterment and like more or less, I've committed. It's not for show and tell.
Right.
It's not for show. This is
And
not for
believe
show
me,
and tell section.
And we agree. We've checked you out. We checked you out, Jelani, and you're definitely the real deal.
Thank you.
So let's paint the picture from the beginning, Jelani. Let's say there's a client of yours that comes to you and is in need of a motivational guidance in life or whatnot. And how does that process begin from your end?
Okay. Usually I get the phone call.
Okay.
The phone call comes in.
Yep.
And then to be fair to everyone at play, it's a double interview.
Right.
It's not just, hello, I want to pay you. I can't afford that.
Right.
That's not the package I promote.
Right.
So more or less, I have some questions for you.
Right.
Where's the direction? What's the scenario? How long have you been having these ideas? Because my type of coaching is not like Tony or Robbins and all these guys. To tell you, my formula is I just put flames to you and you have to activate.
All right.
What you do with the flames is your business.
Right.
So you lay the foundation.
I just said, let's rock. You've been playing around for long. It's time to go.
You light the fire and see what happens.
I light the fire and
That's
then I
it.
release you. And, we'll suggest that, according to what you say, I might have someone to say, you know what, speak to this guy, speak to this guy. But the idea is just to spark you to make a move.
Excellent.
So it's just, that's the idea. So I get the phone call. I do the interview because I can't be fake to myself. So, for instance, if I'm not feeling your energy, how we're communicating, I can't accept you as a client because I won't be of any assistance to you.
Right.
And my future is dependent on referrals and people talking about it worked or he helped me.
Right.
It's not based on me collecting the money and you destroying my name. So you become more costly if I don't think I could work with you.
Absolutely.
You become way more costly.
Do you meet all of your clients face to face, or is
I
it
have
sometimes
to.
just over the phone?
Over the phone, just to see.
Initially.
It's like I could hear that voice.
Right.
If that voice sounds like you've done the rodeo and you just tested me out and you don't want to do the dance.
Right.
I say it's been a pleasure.
Right.
Speaking to you.
You want somebody serious that is committed to.
Just like let's work together because
Absolutely.
With me, I'm home when I'm watching TV. I'm thinking about Europe. Like, how am I going to help you?
Right.
So I don't want to give that to anyone for fun.
Sure.
That's the equation.
All right.
Excellent. So, just getting a little specific, share a few general tips with our audience in terms of staying focused, keeping on track. As you well know, of course, Jelani, we live in a world full of a lot of obstacles, a lot of constant negativity from every angle. What are some general...
We don't like a little bit of free advice here, if you don't mind.
What are some general tips perhaps you can share with our audience in terms of, just staying focused, staying on track, remaining positive despite the various obstacles and negativity?
First, understand that you're supposed to go off track.
Okay.
Right.
That's the first order of business.
That life isn't perfect.
No, you're supposed to be, like, for instance, I do this coaching, but the reason I love it is I'm more help to others than myself.
Right.
Simple. Me following the rules I'm supposed to follow, barely. Me telling you what to do, I'm a success at that because there's a higher passion for you. Because me, I know how to function. I know how to, do what I need to do. But I'm very good at, more or less conveying that message for you to follow that track. And just fall in love with yourself again. That's the bottom line.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You have to fall in love with yourself. Know that some of the faults that you have in your mind was created through the media. They were created through your family. So you have to go back to neutral and start falling in love back with yourself. That's the first order of business. Like, Know that you're supposed to make mistakes. Know that, your experiences is your foundation. It's not a negative.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Excellent.
So Jelani, I'd like you to share a personal experience that you've had with a client, either recently or sometime in the past, something that you've done to help them. And does any client really stand out to you?
This client, they were into medical marijuana. They did strains for the medical marijuana. And when they met me, they were more or less thinking of being an employee to the organization.
Okay.
After we spoke and we were able to identify that their skills was at another level.
Whoa, hold on, Jelani. Did you make this person a drug dealer? I think I know where we're going with this.
Hold on, guys. This is a family show.
Hey man, all of our contracts are non-disclosure.
Yeah, okay. I hear that one.
First order of business.
Sorry to cut you off. Continue.
Privacy.
Yeah, for sure.
Privacy for all clients. I'm going down with the ship if non-disclosure.
Yeah.
Okay. So through speaking and us having building a relationship,
Right.
what we were able to do was that I was able to realize that instead of him being an employee, he was able to be a contractor.
Okay.
And being a contractor, the difference in income was almost 6 times in regards to being an employee to positioning himself as a contractor because of his skill set and his experience.
I don't imagine there's a lot more flexibility and control
Correct.
as well.
Kind of running your own business type thing.
He was, and that's just from us sharing the conversation.
Right.
And that's what we do is more or less we look at the package because a lot of us, we have value, but because no one has magnified that value, because one thing I've realized is your friends and family might have been telling you, but you tend to listen to outside forces more than others.
Right.
So we just identify the value, we repackage that value, and they deliver it. And that person, they love me right now, and I love them just because they spread my my word, and they love it because there's no turning back right now. As you know what's going on with Toronto. In actuality, just from us doing that flip, the new market, I'm anticipating he will become a millionaire.
So basically, medical marijuana for the win.
That's it.
That's really
It's all
it.
about July 1st, right, guys? Boy. So listen, Jelani, before we kick your butt out of here so that you can go out and motivate the rest of the world, we want to have a little bit of fun with you. We're going to play a little game called 2 Truths and a Lie.
Yes.
And this is the perfect game because we're still a brand new show. Our audience is still trying to get to know us and whatnot. So this is a cool way for them to learn some new and interesting facts about us and for yourself as well.
Yes.
And this is good because Milo and I are meeting you for the first time. We don't all know each other, very well. So this will probably aid in that regard. So are you guys ready?
Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So 2 truths and a lie. We'll each take turns sharing interesting facts about ourselves. 2 of them will be true, and 1 will be a lie. And we have to guess which one is a lie. All right? So let's do it. We're going to go through 3 rounds. Everybody's going to go once. And because you're our special guest today, Jelani, we're going to start with you. So please share 3 facts about yourself. And once again, 2 will be true, 1 will be a lie. And me and Milo will try to figure out which is the lie.
Okay. Just for sure. So I have 6 kids.
Okay.
I drove a Rolls Royce when I was 21.
Okay.
I'm in the process of writing my 3rd book.
Okay. Milo, what do you say, man?
I'm going to say number 1. I don't think he has 6 kids.
I wouldn't put him at 6 kids.
No. Unless he's married to
maybe
the
5.
Octomom or something. But
Was that a lie or is that true?
That's a lie.
All right.
No, you got me too early. This is terrible, man.
You got to try to stop
I
us, man.
know. I tried, but you guys, let's hear what's cooking with you
boy.
guys.
All right, I'll go next. So,
All right, go ahead,
this
Milo.
is just for Jelani because you kind of know me
of
pretty
course.
well.
Absolutely.
So let's go. Here we go. So I currently drive an Audi. My favorite National Football League team is the New England Patriots. And I did once try fried monkey brains at a dinner party.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, if you want me to repeat them, Jelani, let me know. But
I'm going with the Patriots.
wow.
You're right. Good.
You are correct.
And he doesn't even know you. This guy hates the
I hate
Patriots.
them to the passion. Here You're absolutely
That was a
right.
good one, Jelani.
I gotta check. Am I wearing my Steelers hat today? Or no? But and the weird part is, I actually did try fried monkey brains at a dinner party once.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
I didn't know what they were, but I tried
You
it.
didn't know what they were?
No, I didn't know that's what it actually was. Fried monkey. I thought it was
How
something
well-
else.
how was it?
No, not really good. It wasn't pretty. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you're official now. Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely.
You're
Yeah.
official.
That was
All right,
good.
so let me go next, guys. Okay, so Jelani, this is for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 3 children. I've been a vegetarian for 19 years. And my favorite color is maroon.
I'm actually I don't even know if I know that. Oh no, I do.
Vegetarian for 19 years.
No, that is true. I have been a vegetarian for 19 years. The first one was actually a lie. I do not have 3 children. I have 4.
You know what? One thing I like to share with the audience is we can't be victorious all the time.
That's it.
So listen, Jelani, as we wind down, tell us, as we switch gears a little bit here, tell us about the specific services that you offer, for your business, and let our audience know how they can get in touch with you.
Thank you, guys. My main thing that I promote is it's called my Fire Starter Package, and you could contact me at jelanidaniel.com.
Okay.
And that package is just more or less if you're in a place where your life and you have a passion and you just need someone to sit down and reason and just take it to the next level.
Right.
That's where I stand. And
Okay.
That's more or less it.
A little
And
extra motivation, a little boost.
just a little boost,
That's it.
a little boost to get you over the edge. And the one thing I'd like to just convey is that I bring my natural self to the equation.
Okay.
So it's not overly administrative and strange. It's like I sit down and I have coffee. I sit down and it's a natural
Right.
process.
Relatable,
Yes, yes. And that's
easygoing,
it.
and
that's really it.
with a little bit of medical marijuana.
If we implement that, we might not start the fire.
That's a different
That's a different fire
that's a
starter. That's a different fire
So
starter.
how could our audience get in touch with you? So you did mention your website, JelaniDaniel.com. What about social media?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as King of Quotes. So instead of I, it's K1NG
Okay.
of Quotes.
Okay.
And just to show you what I'm about, more or less, I write quotes, and I've been writing quotes for over 3 years.
Awesome.
I'll give you guys 2 quotes just to make sure you know that I am real to it.
Absolutely. Bring it, brother.
Most people are preserved in fear only to be eaten by time.
Okay.
Wow.
And
like.
another one is use your wooden spoon while waiting for the silver one.
I like use
Nice.
your wooden spoon
I like
while
that
waiting
one.
for the silver one.
Yes,
Awesome.
a lot of us we tend to be waiting for like something else, but we have all the tools to start
Present
rocking.
moment.
and rolling.
That's right.
So just start rocking.
That's
Very
awesome, Jelani.
thought-provoking. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And we're going to do a giveaway, one of Jelani's books that you can also get on Amazon.ca.
Let's make it 2. Let's make it 2.
Oh,
two
we're gonna
books.
so we're going to do 2 giveaways. Thank
we
you
get
very
3?
much, Jelani. Can we go for 4? Can we get 5? So we're going to do 2 giveaways. Forward March Life Quotes by Jelani Daniel. So stay tuned to social media or TorontoTalkSports.com for more details on that once this episode is live. Once again, you can reach out to Jelani and find out a lot more about him, his quotes, and take advantage of his services, as he just mentioned, JelaniDaniel.com. Jelani, once again, it's been a great pleasure. Had a lot of fun. It was great playing that little game, getting to know you a lot. You're welcome here anytime. Look forward to connecting with you again. Thanks a lot for coming to Toronto
Thank you.
Talk Sports and
I'd
more.
like to
Jelani,
say
thank you, sir.
something before we go. It's
Yes,
like
sir.
from the time I connected with you guys,
Right.
I've been comfortable, I've been excited, and I just appreciate the platform you guys gave me, and I love what you guys are doing. And guys, the passion that these 2 gentlemen have is unbelievable. Simple, bottom line.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate
that.
it, brother. Thanks again, Jelani, for coming and joining us in studio. We had a great time. Thanks for the positive vibes. Toronto Talk Sports and more.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to episode number 9 of Toronto Talk Sports and more. A very special thank you to our guest, Jelani Daniel, for coming on today's show. It was great having you. Please note that our next episode, episode number 10 of Toronto Talk Sports and more, will be released on Wednesday, June the 5th, 2018. Again, episode number 10 will be released on Wednesday, June the 5th, 2018. Also, please remember, if you're not already, to follow Toronto Talk Sports and more on all of our social media platforms. Instagram, you can follow us at Toronto Talk Sports. Twitter, it's TO Talk Sports. and on Facebook, Toronto Talk Sports. Also, if you do want to join us in studio to talk some sports, please visit our website, www.torontotalksports.com. Scroll down to near the bottom of the page and click on where it says to join one of our podcast shows. Click here, fill in all of your information, and let us know what you would like to discuss. We'd love to have our audience members on our show. Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the six, let's connect.
Thank you for tuning into Toronto Talk Sports and more. Please subscribe to our podcast via Apple iTunes or Google Play Store. And stay tuned for new episodes, prizes, and surprises at torontotalksports.com.